back.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So this episode is going to be an experiment into, we're going to do like a variety show template. So we're going to run through a bunch of separate topics and segments that I have predetermined. And this is going to serve as an experiment, like I said, for a format that we can continue going forward or fall back on when we don't have better ideas.
A little aside, I have done little to no research on the topics because it's what I wanted to do,
True.
and
That was by design.
I don't have much time to do it, so it worked out great. So let's.
It's probably going to be better in this way.
So the shout out to the listeners, asking for when the next episode's dropping. You know who the fuck you are. You'll get to hear my raw, unfiltered take on whatever has prepared for us. Wow, we got to bleep that shit.
And yeah, I mean, if they're bad takes, that's good because I think that's what the listeners really want.
The bad takes, yeah.
And another aside before we really jump in, we talked about it and we both listened to the podcast, like episode 1, and we both actually determined we didn't remember anything we said. So like, there's a working theory that these podcasts will be done under the mental haze of a blackout.
Yeah.
Each week.
Like apparently there was a controversial Handmaid's Tale take that I had. And yeah. I had no idea what I said until I went back and like listened to it.
I don't think I heard it while we were doing the podcast. Like I didn't even know what you said. We just went by it. But yeah, the goal is to just, if these are all done under blackout, like I'm already in blackout probably right now. I don't know what I'm saying. I won't remember like 10 seconds from now. But we're going to post every week without listening to it, really. I mean, we'll listen to it to make sure the sound quality is good and that it exists. But no editing. So the consequences be damned of just whatever's out there. So yeah. So just jumping in. So again, this is a variety show. I have curated some topics, news articles from Twitter. So it's kind of like, Leno at the beginning of the show is like, have you seen about this?
You hear about this?
Yeah. So it's basically...
Fucking big ass chin Leno. Have you seen this? And then like the guy in the band's fucking smiling at him like a retard.
Yeah, and he keeps looking over to the band as he goes through like headlines.
The band's just like, I'm a starving musician in New York. I'm just here, Jay. Please don't do this.
Please don't.
My family watches.
Yeah, so the idea is it's not going to be like Leno where he says the headline and gets like the drum roll one-liner. It's going to be more hard-hitting analysis. We might do some deep dives into some of these articles, or we might just like mention them because they were interesting to me. So tangents are welcomed, but they're also, if there's nothing there, then there's nothing there, and we'll just move on. And also, I will post these articles to the SoundCloud so people can read them if they're interested. So this first one, we're going to start light. I saw this interesting article about there's an overpopulation of puppies and like wild dogs in Chernobyl, where the radioactive...
Where Call of Duty 4 happens?
Yeah.
50,000 people used to live here.
And yeah, this guy made a documentary.
Town.
Now it's a ghost town, except for irradiated puppos just running around. So yeah, it's this documentary called The Puppies of Chernobyl.
Are they like bad? Like if you touch them, like you're gonna get cancer, or?
Yeah, it says that. So the idea is the guy made the documentary to like raise awareness about it, and now the Clean Futures Fund is putting together a plan to spay and neuter the animals, give them food, and provide veterinary care. And he does say that there's no immediate health concerns related to radiation for volunteers caring for the dogs. But yeah, that was the first thought I had. I was like, all these dogs are like, if you walk up to them and it was like Fallout, there's the rads start ticking up, and you're gonna get cancer.
Your Geiger counter starts going up.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. And my first thought when I read this was they need to make a movie about it. But then I remembered, I think I sent it in the group me last week or a couple weeks ago, is that Wes Anderson is making this new movie about it's a claymation like Fantastic Mr. Fox, but it's dogs on the trash island somewhere near Japan. And it's like, I don't know if you watched the trailer. It's worth watching.
Who the hell's Wes Anderson?
I knew you were gonna say that. He's the guy who makes all those like whimsical. I don't
Like
know
the
how to
Pixar
get those.
movies or what?
No, he's like made every single one of his movies has like Owen Wilson in it.
Wow.
And the but there's a Fantastic Mr. Fox is like my favorite one. It's probably the most well known, and it's like a claymation movie where it's like these foxes that all talk and other animals, and they're going on an adventure or whatever. But this is similar to where it's claymation, but not all of his movies are like that. But anyways, it's like super whimsical, and I was like, wait, Wes Anderson just needs to switch the venue of that movie to Chernobyl and make it way more brutal, where it's like Lord of the Flies with dogs that are all irradiated.
When I think of irradiated dogs, I think of like Metalocalypse. It just like death metal playing and like puppies like flying out of like a volcano. Like,
I've barely watched Metalocalypse, but I understand that reference. But I can guarantee you, no one listening has ever watched Metalocalypse.
if you've watched Metalocalypse, when they make the coffee jingle for that coffee place, and there's fucking hot coffee coming out of a volcano and murdering all their fans.
Yeah, all the fans get murdered at every concert. That's what I do remember.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest shows on television. But anyway,
They actually make good music. Like
all right, so there's irradiated puppies. What else we got?
Yeah, but you can donate to Clean Futures Fund or whatnot. I mean, I'm not gonna, but I thought it was interesting that this is happening. So yeah,
you're like sponsoring this cause. I was just like, I don't give a fuck about it, but
no, it's just like I noticed Clean Futures Fund was like the thing, and I was like, they're probably doing good work, but
it's probably like the Red Cross, where they like drop off like
where 98% of the money goes to like some
like helicopters. They go to like they're flying over like Puerto Rico with like a bag of bread and like a bag of rice, and then they just like throw it off and then like go to like
just lands in the ocean. No, it's like all those nonprofit companies are just corrupt. Like Susan G. Komen is like funding cancer like research, but like funding cancer happening more, like not cures, because they make money off of it.
Like that Watchmen thing that like Vite used to give everyone cancer. Like she's just like putting those everywhere.
Susan G. Komen is Adrian Viting a bunch of hospitals, just like causing cancer with gas in the vents. I mean, like, no, that's true. Like that's a fact.
Thing. Like
you
the
can
more
look up.
cancer there is,
Google
the more
says
cancer
Susan G.
research
Komen
that
corrupt.
is funded.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's all there.
All
right. All right, moving to the next topic. We got just going in the opposite direction. And before we go into this, I had the thought listening to last week's podcast, and you mentioned Trump, and I was like, I averted my eyes to that, and I was thinking about it this week, and I was like, if political topics come up, like should we avoid them or should we talk about them because like we want this podcast to be an escape? And I was like, no, fuck it. Like I'll talk politics. I don't care if it's interesting and it's something that's worth discussing, entering the discourse with. I say we do it. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but
I don't know. My political takes are just like so lukewarm and just kind of like I don't really care about anything. It's just like
you got nihilistic political takes.
Yeah. Then that stems from just the way my parents handled politics as I grew up. So I don't really care.
I mean, I don't care if it's nihilistic and I have like a opinion on something, then that could make for a potentially good discussion. So we're not going to avoid it just because we want this to be like an escape from the world, which it can also be.
It's not all fun and games, kids.
Yeah, some stuff does matter. It's worth giving a shit. And again, we're not beholden to anything with this podcast. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
If everybody says it sucks and they threaten to stop listening because of anything we talk about, then we're still going to make the podcast.
Thank you to potential sponsor the Republican National Convention.
Yeah, we can do like a footwear thing.
The next RNC, I'm gonna come out. It's like, let's welcome Donald J. Trump on his first re-election run. He's like, I'm getting booed off the stage. Like, who the fuck is this brown guy?
Yeah, but so I saw an article, or I heard about it on another podcast actually, and it was NPR actually. It wasn't a podcast. I was listening to NPR.
That's worse.
And they were talking about a Yale study where they found out that Americans vastly overestimate like the nation's progress towards racial economic equality. So the quote is this girl, Jennifer Richardson, said, "Our findings suggest that Americans tend to be too optimistic about the scope of racial progress in the United States, specifically in the domain of economic outcomes." So she's a professor of psychology at Yale, co-authored the report. And they had this statistic that stuck out. According to federal statistics, for every $100 of wealth accumulated by a white American family, a black American family has just over $5. And that gap is just as wide today as it was 50 years ago. So I was like reading about this, and I was like, we're more optimistic about something like currently in the modern day.
The reality does not reflect it at all.
Yeah, and it's like thinking about it, like the modern American, like today, no one's optimistic about anything. Like everyone's kind of entered this like jaded state of restlessness and pessimism about everything, especially about politics. And I was like, this study shows optimism. I was like, I wonder why. And I think we both know the answer.
I think that might just be the white people think it's optimistic. That might just be human goodwill. That they're like trying to will this into existence. Because it's kind of one of those things, like if you attack something with like a positive attitude, it has like a higher chance of going well. That might be the direction it's headed, but the hard truth might still be that we're just fucked regardless.
I honestly think it's just people don't want to talk about it. So if people think it's like solved and they're optimistic about like, oh, look how far we've come, then we can like stop talking about it. It's not an issue anymore. So we can just move on. Even when it's not true. It's like if people believe that, then they're like, if somebody brings up, hey, we're fucked, like I'm part of a minority class, then we'll be like, no, we already fought that battle, it's over.
Don't give a shit about it at all. They're just focused on like their own crap, and they don't care about the plight of others in whatever form they may come, and then they might toss it up as like, oh well, they just didn't try hard enough or something like that.
Yeah.
Not to get too much into it, but I was reading some comments recently about how like if the U.S. is really racist, then why do Asian Americans succeed? They have good work ethic and they're family oriented, and then all the other brown people don't. So, and I was just like, it's not that easy, my guy.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problems with current politics and current discussions around like economic inequality, which is one of the most important like things going on, is people just don't accept nuance. Like what you just described of someone just like black whiting something and generalizing something to an entire like hundreds of years of history and a bunch of different varying factors, like Asian Americans versus African Americans and their situations. Like, oh, they're the same. Like one side's doing this, the other side's not. It's clear cut. That's not true. It's not. You're not accepting any of the nuance of the issue.
That's like the old white guy Twitter argument. Like, what are you gonna do about this when liberals? And it's just like it's not that fucking easy. Person that drives a F-250, like, and wears Oakley glasses and has a goatee. Fuck you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially modern conservatives, are just kind of like, it's almost like an economic fatalism, where it's like wherever you ended up is where you deserve to be there.
Yeah.
Entirely because of your own nature, rather than extenuating circumstances. Because there's so many different ones, it's impossible to really think about. I don't know. That's a pretty big topic. I just thought this was an interesting study.
Yeah, that segment was brought to you by the
gap.
Democratic Socialists of America. they're cooking the books.
We'll get the RNC and Bernie to sponsor this podcast.
The RNC and Bernie.
Yeah, somehow we'll get it done.
We'll do it. We'll fucking do it. That's how strong our presence will be.
Okay, so moving on to the next thing. There's no easy solution for that one, so we're just gonna move on to this complete.
Shout out to all my white listeners that care about brown people.
shout out, yeah. We need some more shout outs. Yeah. Some Desus and Mero shit.
Let's go.
So shout out to Apple. We're completely shifting gears and going on into like hyper capitalism. So Tim Cook said $999, and I know you're gonna have a take on this, is a value price for the iPhone X, so the iPhone 10.
What?
All right. You
So
can read the article here if you. It's really short, but basically, he's saying that we do so much with our phones now, and they're so valuable to us.
They're no, I mean, okay, so I'm gonna be completely transparent on this. I was an Android user from the start. Due to some circumstances, I bought an iPhone for a year, and I was in like pseudo purgatory because it was kind of terrible. And I have returned to the Android world, but I paid like almost $1,000 for my new Android phone. So like,
And you would say your phone's already packing more heat than the X.
oh yeah, well yeah, like the all the technology in the X was already like developed by all the Android people a while back. Just Apple just kind of cleaned it up and optimized it. Did their Apple thing, made it so like a 75-year-old lady could use it, all that good stuff. Basically, I understand Apple's approach. That statement's just like kind of preposterous. Like that's like kind of saying like you are at our mercy. Like we decided to give you this phone for $1,000 fucking dollars. Yeah, Tim Cook needs to reevaluate some things. That being said,
I think it's just the market price for those types of phones now. They're releasing something that they're going to try to compete with.
Sorry, I'm not looking at it from that perspective at all. I'm just looking at it from like the big. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that philosophy of Apple. So,
I'm definitely going to wait for reviews. I'm not even in the market for a phone. I'm pretty happy with mine. Mm-hmm. So I just thought this was.
See, that's another thing. Like I'm usually the one that gets like the new phone every year.
Yeah, you're the upgrade every year guy, and that's like the opposite of my philosophy.
Like I'm trying to think the longest I had a phone like before, and I'm like I can't think like it might have been like in high school when I had like a phone for like longer than a year.
That's insane. I've had all my phones for more than 2 years. Yeah. I've only had like 3 or 4 separate phones since smartphones existed.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe. But now I'm thinking about it like, all right, like this phone is like good, and it was expensive as shit. So I might stick with it for 2 years. I don't know. I don't know what like drives me that like to do it every year. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy with my phone.
By capitalism. you can't not have the new thing.
Beguiles.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. I see the iPhone X, and I'm just like, I would want the hell out of that. And then I just reevaluate.
When I saw like the screen for the Note 8, I was just like, yo, I want that. Like I want to look into that on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's so easy to just fall into wanting it, and we have enough money now where we can easily buy it. So what's really stopping us? It's just our own self-discipline. And
yeah, which we
are.
I have minimal self-discipline.
How strong is that exactly?
It's fucking minimal as shit.
Yeah, but I mean that's basically all that one was. And jumping into this next one, this one is again pretty heavy. We're going from like light to heavy, alternating.
this is heavy.
This one's insane.
I'm feeling down.
So this one, yeah, I'm sorry if I like down everybody on this, but I just thought this is a pretty heavy hitting like another research article. So basically, research finds evidence now that descendants of victims of atrocities like the Holocaust are inheriting those experiences like within their very DNA. So it's an epigenetic study showing like post-traumatic stress disorder tendencies in descendants of Holocaust survivors. So these people are like grandchildren or great-grandchildren of people that survived the Holocaust, never experienced anything outside of day-to-day stuff, like nothing to the level of like an atrocity, and they still have PTSD or like flashes of it. And I was like, this is insane.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah. So like basically you like the Nazis and classes of people that are getting these things, after having to bear this, it's literally getting encoded into their DNA to be passed down to their descendants. So like the first thing I thought of was like those existential threats of like snakes, spiders, fire. That's like within our DNA to try to avoid those things because we know they're like great danger to us. And now Nazism can be added to that list.
So you just see like a white person, you get scared. This is just like
you see a skinhead with like a swastika on their chest, and like it has the same effect as when you see a spider.
if a skinhead is walking around bare chested with a tattoo of a swastika on their chest, like they better be decapitated, like just by like a grandma.
Yeah, so that's the joke, the gallows humor that I pulled out of this is like at the very least, this research justifies punching Nazis. At the very least.
Yeah. That had many other justifications. Yeah, I had that's I'm still trying to like wrap my head around.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that I would definitely read in full.
Yeah.
I can post this on the.
I'm gonna
It's
have to
insane.
check this one out. Yeah.
But I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. And now, if we want to move on to the next topic, we're going light again. This one is about watching movies by yourself. It's like an essay some guy wrote on that One Perfect Shot Twitter account, where he's talking about how it's like taboo in society to watch a movie by yourself. But this guy's arguing that it's like his most satisfying cinematic experiences were watching movies by himself. And the reason I thought this was interesting is because we've talked about this, where we both, and you have a strong opinion on like you never go to see movies alone, and I'm the same way. I don't like watching movies alone.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm not a big movie person to begin with. Like going to the theater to me is just kind of like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it, and like going alone, like I live like in a city, further away from my family and friends. So like if I do go to the movies, it's going to be alone because my coworkers just don't
right
decide not to exist outside of work. So I mean, like I don't agree with it them being better. Like definitely like.
Like how many movies have you seen alone, like in your entire life? Is it like you can count them, or is it a lot? Like I mean, is it like
10 or so? Probably.
Just speaking from my perspective, I think I've literally only seen one movie alone in my entire life.
Yeah, I've seen like 10. I saw a movie alone on my birthday. Okay, like
that's my point though. It's like I don't like watching movies alone. The only movie I've ever seen alone was Nightcrawler, and it was just random. I really wanted to see it. And I didn't have anyone to go with, so I was like, I want to see this movie. I don't care.
Right.
And I had a good time. And I had the thought where I was like, why do I have this mental barrier of I don't want to see movies alone? Like when it's fine. Like I love movies. Like you're not a movie guy. I like movies a lot. I like going to the theater to see movies that I want to see.
Look, I think the guy that wrote this is probably a movie guy. Like
yeah, for
sure.
Me, he's like
for me, movies are like social things. Like I remember,
but that's my point. That's the point I was going to make. They're not really social. Like it's a paradox of going to see movies like with people because that's like a thing. But you do.
I mean, there is like when we all saw like Anchorman 2. Remember, it was like my mom's birthday,
like,
and I left like my mom's birthday dinner early to go watch it with you guys
because we had to go watch that together. That one was different, like because we were like.
But I mean, like that was fun as hell. I could point to that as like one of the funnest times we ever had at the movies.
I agree. But this isn't like a complete generalization, but I'm just thinking about when you go see a movie.
When you motherfuckers trick me into seeing the second Batman, or whatever the third Batman. Y'all
Dark
tricked
Knight Rises?
me. Yeah, y'all tricked me to see Dark Knight Rises. We were gonna like watch something else that like showed up, and you guys were like, we bought tickets for Dark Knight Rises. Y'all like got there like 15 minutes earlier just to do that.
I don't remember tricking you.
Yeah, I was a trick. I was bad.
But then you ended up loving that movie. So fuck you.
But no, it doesn't matter. It was the principle. It was the fucking principle.
No, but my point I'm trying to make is you don't actually interact in the theater. Like outside of like comedies, I get that you can all laugh together. But for like super serious dramatic movies, everybody's just watching it. You can't talk. You can talk afterwards, but you can talk afterwards anyways. So my point is, it's kind of a paradox of their social experience, by just like what our norm is as a society. Right. But there's no reason I can't go to movies alone and enjoy them. So I'm going to try to do it more because I saw this article and I was like, I agree with what he's saying, really.
Yeah, I understand that. I see both sides. I have my take on it because I like I said, I won't go like out of my way to like see a movie, really. Like if something's dropping, I'm not gonna be there like first one there to see it kind of thing.
But there's like specific movies that you would.
I mean, they're like Star Wars, like when the episodes whatever dropped.
Force Awakens. Yeah.
Yeah, when Force Awakens dropped, like that came out like the day I graduated school. So like I was there like at midnight with my friend and his wife and his family, and then like I woke up at fucking 6 a.m. to go like sit in the awful graduation ceremony half asleep, but I was hyped because I just saw
Because it was
Star
awesome.
Wars
Yeah.
last night. But yeah, so I mean, but like what I like, it was fun going because my friend and his family, they were all Star Wars people.
Yeah, and you can like talk in the line and talk
Right.
afterwards. It's not true of every movie, but there's
Right.
some
Yeah.
movies. And again, I don't like. I'm a movie guy, but I don't go see every movie. There's specific movies that I
Right.
choose to
Yeah.
take out of
Or
my
like
time to go
Fast,
see.
like the Fast franchise. Saw that alone, and that was
See,
lit because
that's
I
my
was just
point. I haven't seen Fast Eight because I like
wow,
no one I know other than
wow.
you. Other than no, I'm being serious. Other than you, like would really want to see that movie. So I didn't go because I didn't want to go alone.
Yeah.
I should have just gone alone to see it. And now here
Yeah.
we sit, however many months after, and I still haven't seen that movie because I was afraid of going alone. Not afraid, but just like
You
didn't
just
want
don't
to.
want to. That's all. There is the stigma. Like you walk up to the fucking ticket thing, and there's like, wow, is this guy a fucking serial killer? Like,
Yeah, no, the guy in the article says that. He's like, you're gonna get a weird look when you buy the ticket, but don't
yeah,
worry.
that's like Fandango's your friend, guys. You
That's
don't have
true.
to have any human
No
interaction.
interaction.
You
That's
could be
true.
you could be the serial killer that that just walks into the movie theater, enjoys a film, and then goes home.
Now that I think about it, I just said earlier that the only movie I've seen in my entire life by myself is Nightcrawler. Do you know what that movie's about?
No,
It's like
I
a
mean I'm familiar
sociopath
with
weirdo.
Nightcrawler. Well, there you
It's
go.
about a sociopath loner weirdo. So like, yeah, that doesn't look good. That's bad optics on my
It's
end.
not a good look, my
That's
friend.
not good look.
It's a bad look if I've ever seen one.
It is. Um, let's move on to this next one.
Yeah, that
This,
was
so this one, there was some big science news that I couldn't fully comprehend, but I saved this article here because I wanted to discuss it with you, and we kind of had some pre-talk about it, and you were basically like, "This means that God exists," but like in physics, in the physics space, is the only take you have. But basically, the scientists detected another burst of gravitational waves coming from black holes collided 2 billion years ago, which is insane. So like the light waves are just now reaching us. Astronomers say they've detected another set of gravitational waves, ripples in the fabric of space and time traveling throughout the universe. And it's the fourth time this has been detected by LIGO, which is Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. Shouts to John, because I'm pretty sure he's told me that acronym before, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Jay. um, but basically, with increasing technology, we can better identify the source of these waves and then detect more of these events over time. So my question is, what the fuck does this mean?
exactly what the first sentence says. They're detect like black holes have collided infinitely many times, and we're just now figuring out how to detect them.
So are these waves from the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension?
I mean, time is the fourth dimension.
Do we know that?
Yeah,
Because
that's
Tyson
no,
told us.
because of relativity. That's what Einstein
Of
proved.
course.
Basically, like, Jesus.
You don't have to go into it. These are just like light topics, you know,
Like space is a fabric, and
like a blanket.
yeah, space is like a blanket. Like I'm talking about like physical space, not just like outer space, like everything. And gravity bends it, and basically like the limits of the universe are dictated by light. So basically, light can't escape black holes, which is why they're black, and they're infinite. They're infinite concentrations of mass, or near infinite concentrations of mass. So it's basically like two super dense things collided, and then they sent out these waves that scientists are now being able to interpret.
Okay.
And then they're saying that it's happened so many times, like, you know, this one happened 2 billion years ago, which is like a mind-numbing
We
number.
can't even think about that.
Right.
It's unfathomable.
Right. So that was my main takeaway from this, is that the infinity of the universe is just cruel, and the fact that we were put here to toil away over, like, you know, an average of like 70 years as opposed to the 2 billion. So,
Yeah, it's mind blowing. I thought it was interesting.
So basically, the what the fuck does it mean? It doesn't mean much.
It seems like a lot of these science-y space articles where we detect something, it's always in like the conclusion of what the discovery means is always, well, this just means we're going to get better at detecting this same thing in the future, or we're going to get better at, finding out what it means.
Right.
But we don't know what it means.
They're just steps towards.
They're always
something.
Steps.
This could be like the fucking. This could be like the fucking mass relay that we find at the edge of the galaxy. That
breaks everything wide open, and then we turn into Mass Effect.
Yeah. So it's just like this stuff is just like that's why I don't even read science articles like that anymore unless it's like published.
You don't go to ScienceDaily.com every day?
No. Or like I have people that I trust to give me content in this kind of stuff because like a lot of it is just like or just like they're just trying to get
clicks. I have
clicks.
people I trust too, like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye.
Yeah, I'm trying to we'll save that for later.
Okay.
My NDT talk.
Okay. So this last article, this is last of like the news section. We got.
Oh yeah.
I think you've seen this before. I want you to click on the link so you can watch this GIF.
I've studied this.
It's this phenomenon that Tom Cruise was wearing a fake butt while filming Valkyrie, that movie where he's like part of the conspiracy to kill Hitler. There's like a scene where he's getting up from like a tank.
Wow.
I'm watching the GIF over and over again right now, and it's insane. Where he's like getting up and his butt is just like this bubbly mass that like can't be real. So I saw this on Twitter.
It looks like there's a pillow in his ass, but it's like a perfect ass pillow.
I saw it on Twitter originally where it's just a screenshot where it's like maximized bubbly.
This looks like a cartoon ass. This is
so
bad.
Funny.
This is shady podcasting as we described like a visual thing.
There's gonna be a link in the
a link in the description below.
In the description below. Yeah. Hello, please. This is the original tweet I saw. Hello, please. I present the theory that one single shot in Valkyrie. At 5 minutes, 12 seconds in, Tom Cruise wears a fake butt. Please observe. So this was a while ago. The reason this article is coming out now is Cruise spoke out on the fake butt controversy. Like it reached him. And he said there was no prosthetic in Valkyrie. So he's
out there saying, that is my ass?
It's his ass. It's his real ass. It's confirmed from him.
I still don't believe
him. The consensus was that it was a stunt butt. Everybody said it had to be. You look at the evidence, you watch the video, it's there's no way it is real.
Yeah. I just said that
Cruise's quote was, "I have no idea. There was no prosthetic in Valkyrie. No."
I just said that the universe was infinite and cruel. Well, Tom Cruise's ass is infinite and cruel. If that's real,
look at it. It's incredible.
Yeah. No.
And I hope people listening have never seen this. So as they're listening to us, like just talk about it, it's hyping them up so much. No, and when they see the real video, it's even going to surpass those expectations.
Don't look at it. That's fine. Go on living your life like
without having seen it.
Like you never saw Tom Cruise's butt in this way.
It makes me want to watch the movie Valkyrie. I haven't seen it.
It makes me want to do the opposite of that, actually. Like I never.
I think he wears an eye patch in the movie. He probably loses the eye in that scene right there where everything's blowing up.
Or it's like if he wears an eye patch, this is all like, it's probably like some filmmaker's trick that like the ass just looks like this if you had one eye. Like the whole movie's like a one eye perspective type shit.
It's an optical illusion that he has a bubble butt.
Yeah, it's actually just flat as shit. We just have no depth perception. It's anti 3D.
That was my favorite article here.
That looks terrible.
Curated pieces. So
it's awful.
Moving on, I just want to have like another meta discussion about the podcast itself. So you got the Leno impressions. We had a Kendrick impression on the last episode.
Nowhere. Just my hot take. Like
I was like,
Kendrick might be a robot.
Yeah, right. It was like, should we do voices, bits, wacky sound bites, clips. Are these things that we want to do on the podcast or no? And we don't have to answer this. We can just start a brainstorm about it. But
I mean, if it comes naturally,
yeah.
Like we can't just go in there. It's just like, all right, I'm gonna do the Kendrick thing again. It's gonna be funny.
No, I know that. But my whole thing is, I'm self-conscious about my impressions. Like I do impressions sometimes, and it's like in the moment, it's fine, it's funny.
You just gotta roll with it, my guy.
But then, yeah, should I do it on the podcast? I don't know. I don't think I want to break into impressions very much. I don't trust myself to perform in the moment.
Talking about that. So when I was in LA, I went to like an improv comedy show.
Yep.
And like it was like an hour long, and like the first like 30 minutes for like the two, like it was Upright Citizens Brigade, so it's like like real.
That's high quality shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And like it was like $7 to go into, and it was pretty tight. But anyway, like there's like two dudes, and they're like actual improv guys, and they're doing their shit. And it was hilarious. And then like the last 30 minutes, like they like split the room in two, and then they're just like, all right, if you're in this side of the room and you want to come up here and improv with us, like
wow,
come on up here. And it was tight as shit. But anyway, like this like buff guy was like up there. I wanted to, but I was just like, I'm gonna let it play out, and whenever I come back, I'll do it because it looked fun as hell. But like a lot of the people up there, they weren't very good, and then like the professional dudes had to like come in and like save it.
Yeah.
But at one point there was like this really buff guy, and he like looked kind of lost out there. But then somehow the skit lended itself to where like a Barack Obama impression would be perfect. He just jumped in and like did it perfectly, and like the crowd was just like loving it. And I was just like, that guy just fucking went for it, because I saw him look kind of like apprehensive right before.
He knew he had it in his holster. He's like,
yeah, like he had it. Yeah, he had it on deck, ready to go. So that's like if it fits. Like the guy had probably practiced that at one point, and was just like, all right, this is a fine impression, and then it just like it fit in perfectly. I remember even like the dudes like after like the skit like finished and everyone was clapping, like the two dudes like came up to him and like shook his hand. They were just like, that was good.
This is a home run.
So,
it's impressions are weird.
You just gotta do it.
Yeah, but I don't practice it or anything, and I'm certainly not going to do it on this podcast.
You gotta commit. You gotta commit. If you're gonna do it, you gotta commit. What the hell else are you gonna do it?
Improv what impressions are you gonna do? Really interesting. I don't know how.
Yeah, no, I mean that was awesome. I feel like I would like be good at it to some extent, but I would need to like practice. Anyway, going to that thing was fun.
If I lived in LA, to go to a comedy improv.
If I lived in LA, that would be tight. But anyway, so that's my take on the bits.
But yeah, the bottom line is I might, invest in a big novelty soundbite board with a bunch of big red buttons that I can just mash that make sound bites, to be used.
The only thing that I want is a reggaeton horn. That's the only sound that matters in this world.
I don't know when we'd use them. I don't know what the context would be, but I'm gonna look into it.
Probably not when we're talking about the infinite cruelty of the universe.
Yeah, and like atrocities being transmitted through DNA.
Yeah, probably.
There's no soundboard for that.
We're gonna keep the articles section to radioactive puppies next time.
So we can use a bunch of big wacky sounds.
Oh, look at this puppy! It's gonna give you cancer. And then like.
Actually, the way we're recording this, I could just do it via the internet. I could find a soundboard and just have a Chrome tab.
The only soundboard we need is that like Arnold Schwarzenegger soundboard from You're the Man Now, Dog.
Yeah, there's another one for Bane quotes from Dark Knight Rises. A callback.
Yeah, see, that's the shit I'd be on.
That shit would be good.
Quotes.
We can look into that for next episode.
Bane quotes, baby.
Segue here. Speaking of movies, the next topic I have are what are your best films of this summer? Or best film of the summer for you? I know you're not a big movie guy, but you saw at least one movie this summer.
I saw one summer film, and I thought it was good.
Yeah, so I already know what that is. So we're on agreement on what we think the best film of the summer is.
Yeah, I saw Dunkirk, and I thought it was.
Yeah.
Like I liked the. I'm a big music guy. I feel like music can add a lot to the.
Same.
To a movie, and like that, like the music was stressing me the fuck out. Like when they're like
that ticking clock.
Yeah, like just a lot of shit like that. Like it just worked like visually. Like when they were like stuck in that boat and they were trying to get out. And, like the fact that none of the characters like said anything ever. Like
Yeah.
it was just like you were watching them like literally like just try to
Try
survive
to survive.
or
Yeah.
like deal with whatever the hell they were dealing with. Like
Like that, the guy that ended up being French and he couldn't speak English anyways. Him and like the English main character like became like closer than any of the other characters in the movie, arguably, and they never spoke.
right,
It's
yeah.
awesome. But yeah, that scene where they're in the boat and it's sinking, the music you're saying like stress you the fuck out. Like it sounded like someone trying to breathe.
Yep.
Like that's why it
Yeah.
was so like I don't remember the exact like tone or what that was, but I remember thinking like this is the
Like
perfect
I
music for
remember
this.
being alone in the movie theater feeling like I was suffocating.
Yeah, that movie was insane. It was really good. That was my favorite movie of the summer. And then if I had to do like a top five, which I have like written here, second favorite would be It, then third Baby Driver, Spider-Man, then Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And I don't really remember Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but those were basically all the movies I saw this summer. Spider-Man was good. Baby Driver was like a really original action movie that also you didn't see that, but you should because the music's really good in it.
Yeah, I heard recommendation. If I also the thing is like I don't like if I'm gonna watch something in like my very spare free time, like I'm gonna watch like a TV show probably. It's a I don't know
Yeah,
to
TV is
be
taken over.
that's a better experience in general. But I don't know if I it'd have to be the right conditions for me to see a movie because otherwise it's just like well, I'm gonna see it for 2 hours and like probably want to leave at one point.
Well,
I
the thing
don't
is,
know.
it's just a selective. You have to pick the right movies. Like out of all of these five movies, you like Dunkirk, Spider-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I wouldn't even really recommend to you because you're not like that big of a fan of comics. It I wouldn't recommend
I do like
because
Spider Man. I
then you
think
should
Spider
definitely see the new Spider-Man.
and this is entirely based on like my childhood memory of watching like the Tobey Maguire ones, and then having
Yes,
like that Nickelback like hero theme song,
Hero.
which was fucking flames. I remember like I had like the fucking VHS, and
You
then
just
like
said Nickelback is Flames.
no, that
Just get.
song is flames.
I just want to get that
That
make that
song is
clear.
flames.
That
You
song
know,
is
like,
Flames. I agree with you.
Kroger,
But
Kroger kills it. I watched the video. Because I've seen the video infinitely many times. It's like because like you would play the VHS and then you would let like the credits run, and then at the end of the credits there was like the video, so it would be like if you waited for like the after movie scene or something, and then
yeah,
you see like the New York City thing, and then you see like Spider-Man swing, and then on top of a building it's like Nickelback, and they're like, if only no hero can save us.
that was it. Yeah, that was their peak. They were killing it.
Yeah. Whenever that song was Flames. And
Yeah, well,
Chad Kroger has a special place in my heart.
I can't believe you know his
And
name.
then
But you should
maybe
definitely see the new Spider-Man. I mean, it's
maybe I only
it's
like
arguably the best one.
maybe I only like Spider-Man because of Nickelback. Who knows?
Oh God, I hope not. No, because Tobey Maguire was like 30 in that movie, and
Yeah,
like
it's this guy.
Spider-Man's supposed to be like 16 or whatever. And
Yeah.
the new movie, he is
an
actually
actual
of the right
baby?
age. The
A
actor's
baby?
good.
Hmm.
Stark
Well,
makes an appearance. It's basically Iron Man 4.
if it ever somehow makes sense. See, I'm also an Iron Man fan. I do like Iron Man.
This movie's right up your alley. Then I was
I'm
wrong
a,
about not recommending it to you.
I'm selective. I don't know. I don't remember what was the last Iron Man I saw is like when he builds like all the extra suits and him and
That's
Don
Iron Man
Cheadle.
3. Yeah.
Okay, so nothing has happened since. Like
Civil War happened.
Okay, I don't care
Team-up
about that.
movie.
The
Civil War is
all,
the best Marvel movie.
all
But
like the United Universe BS pisses me off. But
we'll have to go into that take later.
it's bad.
That's the whole point of comics, though. It's a whole big universe. You can't have the Avengers. I mean, you can't have Captain America, Iron Man, and Spider-Man without the Avengers. Also, it's all part of the same universe. Like comics, people being mad about shared universes can be mad about them, but if you're mad about like Marvel movie shared universe, you can't be because that's the whole source material. It's comics. That's what they are. That's what they always were. So people mad about the movie universe. I've heard that take before, and it just doesn't really make sense because it's like
Well,
I don't like
I'm
I
looking
like
at
Batman,
them-
but I don't like his backstory where his parents died. They're like inseparable. You can't have one without the other.
Well, that's not my take.
I know, but
don't put that
the
take
take of
on me,
hating
Ricky Bobby.
the hating shared universes, but like
No,
in
it's more
Marvel
of like
is inseparable from the very thing it is my point.
Look, I'm about to say something that might be sacrilegious. Like, I don't know what the fuck the difference between Marvel and DC is. Like, I was never like a comic person.
There's not that much difference. They just
well,
happen
just
to
in
be the
terms
two
of like, I don't know
biggest.
who's who. Like, is Batman DC or Marvel? It's DC, right?
Yeah, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman,
Okay, so
Flash,
that
Green Lantern are all
uh,
DC.
like
And
Captain
then
America and all that shit's Marvel.
Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Thor are Marvel.
Okay. Yeah. See, I remember. I mean, like, I've seen Thor. I've seen the first one at least, and I thought it was fine.
The new
I don't
Thor
know.
looks like flames. Like Hulk is fighting Fenrir and Goldblum's in it. I'm gonna see the shit out of that.
Goldblum.
Goldblum's in it.
I saw a commercial with
I don't know
Goldblum, and he was like in a taco truck, and he was all cross-eyed. That's, that's the only thing I know about Goldblum.
Goldblum is fire in those apartments.com commercials.
Okay, dude, did I ever show you that Portlandia Goldblum thing?
Yes, with a not store.
Yeah.
That's Goldblum's best performance. No,
Like,
my mom, like Goldblum is her favorite actor ever, arguably. I think he's like at least top 3. And I showed her that not store thing that you showed me, and she lost it. Like it was her favorite thing. She's like, "What the hell is Goldblum doing? What is this?" Because I didn't really explain what it was, like what type of show it was, and she just didn't understand it. And then it became like her favorite thing. So yeah, that was awesome.
Goldblum's just living his best life. That's like anyone that would question why John C. Reilly would do like Gangs of New York and then go like a couple years later go do fucking Steve Brule. Like he's just doing what he wants to fucking do.
Yeah, John C. Reilly's
Just following his.
He's one of the greatest actors of our generation.
He might. I don't know. I floated the idea of the take that he might surpass Farrell, in my mind at least.
Because of Brule, he might.
Because
Yeah.
of Brule. Or like even Paul Rudd. Like Paul Rudd does wild shit too. Like
Paul Rudd's not on the
Rudd,
same level as Farrell and Riley though.
yeah, like Rudd's catalog is less extensive.
Like Farrell's
But,
more
like-
prolific because he's just in so much.
Yeah,
But
he
the
does, but he
things
does like the
Riley's in-
same like.
Yeah,
It's all like a variation on the theme of like the rah, like gonna scream shit person. like what was that movie where he's like running for like office or something? And I think it's like
The campaign.
Galifianakis. Yeah, Galifianakis is the other guy. Like
he's
that,
just an
like,
asshole.
Like
He's
he was
an asshole that like is arrogant and then he like fucks up and then he gets reformed
Then he screams a lot,
and
like,
he's a hero. Yeah, his breakdown he always just screams a lot.
right. So it's like a variation on a theme. And like Riley, you get a full spectrum of bullshit that you don't understand really, and like he kind of looks funny.
He's more of an
Like-
avant-garde specialist
Yeah,
because of Brule mostly.
Yeah,
That's the
he's
first thing that comes to mind.
yeah. He's like the noise band from Philadelphia that you really like, but are afraid to tell your friends about. Like,
he's yeah. I'm afraid to tell people about Brule, even though I know Brule is like the magnum opus of comedy.
oh yeah.
I'm afraid people won't.
I
understand it and they'll call me
I showed a coworker Brule recently, and it was what's the one where he like sneezes and then his head goes into like a cake, like
Yeah,
whatever.
that's like the intro.
Like whatever the
Zooms
fuck
in.
that one is. Like I showed that one to them, and then they just looked at me and they're like, "Wow, you have a college degree from like a respected program."
Well, the problem with Brule is like if you try to set it up, like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
no,
set
no.
up this Brule clip, you have like an existential moment and you're like, wait, why the fuck do I think this is funny? And then like you have to like rethink everything. But like in your
Yeah,
heart,
no.
you know it is. You know you're right, but you can't articulate it.
Yeah, it's a you can't explain it. Like I do. I love Brule. It's
Yeah, this could be a Brule podcast.
yeah.
We haven't mentioned Frasier yet. Shout out to Frasier. It's either going to be a Brule podcast or a Frasier podcast. But I don't think Brule needs a podcast.
No.
It speaks for itself.
People need to know about the applicability of Frasier in today's life. Like,
More than anything.
all right, we're starting Frasier.
Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Mercy. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah, maybe, but I got you pegged. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Scrambled eggs all over my face. What is a boy to do?